So now I have a basic clock, and if I open it up, I note that my clock is in UTC, but our sprinkler is going to be in a specific geographic location, so we want to make this time zone aware. So I'm going to create a drop-down menu that allows me to set the time zone. So let's start this one actually by dragging in a comment to explain what we're about to do. And I'm going to pull in some of the values from the course. I'm going to give a name of time zone adjustment and my comment in this field here, basically saying we're controlling via a drop-down, and it's going to modify the time that the clock is showing us from UTC into whatever time zone we tell it. So now I'm going to drag in a drop-down node. And I'm going to double click to edit it. And this needs to be part of a group, so I'm just going to confirm that it's in the same group as the clock we just made. So that's the time group, which is inside of the sprinkler control tab. I'm going to give a size of 7 by 1. I'm going to give it a label, it says time zone. And for a tooltip, I'm going to say select a time zone, just an additional hint for someone if they hover over the element. For options, there are no options here right now, so I'm going to add a few options. So I'm going to make my first option type number, give it a value of -240. This represents a 240-minute adjustment backwards from UTC, and that's what's going to give us the Eastern time zone, so EST, Eastern Standard Time. Add another option, number, 300. This one's going to be CST. And as I'm finishing this up, it looks like I missed making this one a number, so I'll make that one a number as well. And let's give this a useful name, time zone dropdown. And lastly, I'm going to give this a description. I'm going to give my entire node a description. I'm just going to paste this in from the course. This is in Markdown language, and it tells me what I'm doing with this node. So go back to my properties and click done. I'm going to drag this in the middle because we're actually going to add a few more things here. So now I'm going to drop in a change node, search for change, put this on the right here. And let's configure this node. So the name is going to be set time offset. And we're going to create a rule here next. And we're going to give it an action and tell it what to do. So the action is going to be set, and we want to set the global variable that's called local time offset based on the payload that's going to come from this drop-down here. So based on message payload, and we're going to get that when we connect the two nodes. Click done. And now I'm going to connect the nodes. So message payload is coming from here and going into my change node here. Before we test this, we're going to add a default time zone because right now the default time zone is still UTC. So I'm going to drag in an inject node, and let's configure it. Payload type is number, and the payload is whatever you want to offset UTC by default. So I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so I'm going to offset UTC by 240. If you were in California, you might do it by 420. I do 240 here. and say inject. And I'm going to give this a useful name. I'm going to say default to EST. And say done. I'm going to connect this to my dropdown. So my default is being put into my dropdown when the page loads. I'm going to click deploy. Get a message that it was successful, and now I'm going to test my GUI. And in fact, I already have it open, so let's refresh the page. And I can see that Eastern Standard Time is the default. The clock confirmed is showing Eastern Standard Time. And if I were to change this to Pacific or Pacific Standard Time, it goes back by 3 hours, as we'd expect here. Same thing with Central, Mountain,